evolving Bitcoin cycles, and what to expect from the new bull run. Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. Today, we have a lot more crazy news to talk about from crypto, so make sure you watch this video all the way through so you don't miss out on anything important. Having said that, guys, we are giving away 250 XRP the first time that we hit 1,500 likes within 24 hours. There's 3 steps to enter. Make sure you press the like button, make sure you are subscribed, and make sure you comment something down below. Having said that, the first thing I must tell you guys about is to claim your Spark, right? I've told you guys about that before. If you were planning to, well, Coinbase has allowed it to be done on their exchange. And the thing is though, make sure you watch this legal document here, or at least the licenses for your specific state. Check it out and let's move on. Evolving Bitcoin cycles and what to expect from the new bull run. This was a very important article, and I actually kind of debated here to talk with you guys about the full article just because I've talked about these specific situations quite often. I often talk about comparing what has happened in the past to what's going to be happening right now, and these guys do a pretty clear overview of that as well. So let's start out here though with Bitcoin cycles. The most popular idea is that Bitcoin follows a 4-year cycle, which isn't wrong per se due to the halving events. While this may have been true for the last 2 halvings, it isn't true for the latest halving. Each cycle consists of a boom and a bust, a bull or a bear cycle, which haven't seen a proper bull run for about 3 years now, except until recently. Hence, as explained, Bitcoin cycles are lengthening. With each cycle, the ROI is also decreasing, and this makes sense. As the magnitude of Bitcoin's worth has increased, the ROI should naturally decrease for it to be sustainable. The first cycle yielded an ROI of 50,000%, the second 49,000%, and 11,500% for the third cycle. The fourth cycle is projected to yield approximately 3,700%, roughly 4 times less than the previous cycles. However, the price has already hit the 5-digit range in just 3 cycles, so going forward, we can't expect this ROI to reduce even drastically, especially in the 5th cycle. So the 4th cycle is what puts Bitcoin on an even global level than it already is, at least in terms of a store of value adoption. And while it may seem impossible, institutional money has just begun to flow into the market, and we came close to surpassing the previous all-time high. And as mentioned in an earlier article, again, I don't agree with this. I think we did pass all-time high a couple of days ago, but that just depends on what exchange you prefer to look at. There are 35,000 publicly traded companies carrying a total of $5 trillion in spare cash, getting negative results due to the pandemic. Twitter's Cash App alone has about $10 billion in spare cash laying around, so even if 1 to 2% of this capital, $5 trillion, flows into Bitcoin, this would easily push its market cap to $2 trillion and beyond. This one, I also don't understand exactly how this came to be. Is Twitter's Cash App something different than Square's Cash App? Or I think that one is together, right? And given them as an example of having $10 billion in spare cash is a very dumb one, because they're already buying a ton of crypto. So I don't really get why they would go for something like that. I really don't. However, maybe I'm talking about something different. That's definitely possible. And again, guys, I am not from the US. I don't speak English as my first language. Understand that, all right? If I'm saying something poorly, I've tried my best. Please, all right? So if I don't know what Cash App is, because I've never used it before. Okay. Now that we have that baseline, let's move on here. So it is important to understand how the next cycle will evolve and take steps to better prepare for the next bull run. Let's take a look at Bitcoin cycle since its inception. So the above chart shows Bitcoin has had 3 cycles so far, with the 3rd one ending in December of 2018, so right around there, when Bitcoin bottomed at 3,122. Cycle 4 is projected length is said to be about 1,760 days. Considering the elapsed 760 days, there are still 1,000 days until the next cycle ends. To be I scared. Whew, I got scared so bad because I accidentally pressed it, and all of a sudden my screen went completely black. You guys probably want to get the scare, but I got scared for a little second. How can I get back? Oh, there we go. All right, cycle 4, yeah. To be precise, we have about 600 days till we hit a peak in cycle 4, which is predicted at $118,000 US. However, if we take a closer look at the chart, we can see a small failed rally in 2019. This rally could have been due to the leftover euphoria from 2017 relapsed in 2019, so that's mostly just hype. And since 2017 was a huge milestone for Bitcoin, it could be residual investors pouring into Bitcoin, not realizing the bull cycle was but over. Either way, we saw something new for Bitcoin. It wasn't a bull cycle, it wasn't a bear cycle. To further understand the cycles, let's break down into the pre-bull run and the bull run. For the purpose of this discussion, let's classify the above chart into PBR and BR. So that's pre-bull run and bull run. A pre-bull run is when the price consolidates into higher highs and small corrections in preparations for a bull run. A bull run is when the price surges exponentially in a matter of a few days/weeks. So they put up here the 4 different cycles with the pre-bull run and the bull run themselves. You can see exactly how long it took and how exactly it all works and what the prices went to. And that one sometimes kind of scares me. You know, when I look at the inception of Bitcoin and the start, looking at the price here in a couple of cents right now being at so many thousands of dollars, it sometimes just frightens me to see that we could have been in that spot a little while ago, right? And here on the right, you can also see how much it did in the pre-bull run in terms of percentages and how much it did in the bull run itself. Those percentages are still outstanding, but the point is, I think in my opinion, that it's decreasing with time here. Still, however, if we get 1,000%, I wouldn't mind, personally. Although the bull run seems to have begun and the price of Bitcoin is high, considering the peak of 118,000, it is still too early, hence investing in PBR phase or early BR phase is the best way to go about a Bitcoin investment, especially if one is filled to invest in a bear market. The point is, once more, pre-bull run was from 2018, again, kind of the fall there, or at least maybe some of the peaks at December, up till the March when it hit a real peak, low point. How do you say that in English? Like a fall, a pit, deepest point. Then the bull run really started, and that's going to be ending the February of 2022, supposedly. And once more, you kind of got to consider that this is for Bitcoin specifically, right? Because you can also see when the bull run had ended. So it doesn't actually mean that XRP or some other cryptos like that will also reach their highest point around that date. It will most likely be a couple of weeks later than that, is what we were to be assuming. However, that would also be the point where we're going to be falling. However, the idea is pretty cool, though, that all what we're doing right now is just preparing, sort of, because we've only gone ×2 and we have ×10 in total to go. So the rest of this one is also interesting to take a good look at, but it's not that important as to the whole picture. It's pretty cool, though, to consider exactly how everything is happening right now, right? And where we can be going. I've kind of thought about it and kind of thought through some of the other details they've given right here, which you can see will put its market cap in a range of $2 trillion. $2 trillion for Bitcoin is not even that much, in my opinion, right? I don't think that's impossible at all. I even think $1 trillion is easily possible for XRP itself. And here they also have an article, I guess, on how much you need to become a millionaire. Well, theoretically speaking, if you go by this idea, you're going to need about 8 to become a millionaire, following their ideas. 8 Bitcoin, that's a lot of freaking money already, though, guys. Damn, that's a lot of money. Oh, that's 160,000, right? Or am I dumb? Could be. All right, but I think that's 160,000 right now. It's what you need to become a millionaire, following their idea. Ethereum is maturing. Grayscale says Ethereum is becoming an asset class. I've talked about this one before, where Ethereum right now is maturing in the sense that it's not as programmer oriented anymore, and it's actually starting to appeal to a lot more retail investors and just retail consumers of the crypto. At first, I would say that the majority of the people that used Ethereum were using it for the purpose of ERC20, or for tokens that were built upon Ethereum. A lot of people were having it for that sense, and that's also why, of course, Ethereum became so popular and still is today. However, that's also for a huge part because, well, Ethereum, just like the real coin, the real Ethereum itself, is mostly really loved by developers because of its nature, right? It's built in a certain and pretty interesting way. However, if you start to consider it to different other projects out there like Cardano, it really doesn't hold up that well. However, it's noticeable that the last couple of weeks things have kind of changed, where a lot of investors are certainly going for Ethereum quite heavily. And I've noticed that as well in my own personal surroundings here, that people have all of a sudden put a lot more faith over in Ethereum. And that's also why I've increased my holdings just a little bit for Ethereum. I've gotten a little bit more happy with it. But I think that's also because of the DeFi craze, of course, that's been going around. And if we're talking DeFi, one thing I must admit right there is that I think DeFi is not a real good thing for the uneducated in crypto, because DeFi is rather difficult to understand and it can lose you a lot of money. But also, DeFi and Ethereum 2.0, I don't know how well they're going to be coursing on through, as most people are not going to be getting it, and thus it will most likely lose a lot of people some money, or it will lose a lot of developers their job, if you guys get me, with this whole DeFi craze and Ethereum 2.0 popping on up. But more about that we'll talk about a little bit later. It's not for today. It's an interesting situation, though, how Ethereum has been growing really, really rapidly in the last couple of weeks. Then this article I've talked about a little bit, but I just want to briefly point out once more, this is something you guys must understand, all right? Not being on par, not being in the crypto boat could be a multi-million-dollar mistake. I've said that before. For some people, it's going to be a multi-billion-dollar mistake, especially for these bigger hedge funds and hedge fund people. The thing is, it's been this way for a very long while, that all these guys, at first, they're very skeptical towards crypto, very skeptical towards Bitcoin, and 3 years later, they're all of a sudden praising it to death. All right, the BlackRock CEO even had that where he said, well, it's not even that, it's mostly for criminals, or at least something in that sense. And after a little while, he said, well, it's a threat to the US dollar. That's a big change to make. That's a big ass change of heart, if you're asking me, honestly. And things like that are always there. A lot of these bigger guys are like, whoa, we shouldn't be using it. We should be going for gold. We should be going for yada, yada. And eventually, once these other bigger guys start to hop on over, then they're going to be hopping on in, and then they're going to be like, oh yeah, it wasn't that mature back then, but now I'm also an investor, and now I'm also happy about it, yada, yada, yada. Unless, of course, they have some incentive to be pushing gold. In this case, though, I don't think he has. I think he's just not really there yet for such an investment. He's not really feeling it, but I think Steve Forbes will feel it when all of a sudden he has to list only crypto billionaires and millionaires in that whole list. When Forbes is just made up of crypto. It's like Forbes crypto is going to be their main thing. It's going to be coming, But I sometimes think about it. These guys are so ignorant in a certain way where he has a point. Bitcoin is not matured enough to be a real store of value. But saying gold is really better? I don't know, though. And I think he'll change his mind. And it could be a multi-billion-dollar mistake that he's making just now. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just my opinion. But I think people are mistaken if they really are putting all their efforts into gold. CNBC runs segment discussing dollar drop and Bitcoin rally. But over the past few weeks, and ever since April, really, the US dollar has been in a steep decline, and many in the cryptocurrency space and in the broader investment world see this as a win for altcoins such as gold and Bitcoin, or I should say alternative currencies or alternative assets such as gold and even Bitcoin, and actually every crypto for that matter. The thing is, though, we all know the dollar right now is having some issues, especially here since the start of November, when things start to look a little bit shady in the US regime. And I think it all pushed itself, right? Things push each other, and voila, people are afraid of the US dollar falling. And what you get when people are afraid of that is the US dollar falling more. Billionaire hedge fund manager Paul Tudor Jones expects Bitcoin's market cap to grow beyond $500 billion. We all expect it, though, so do not worry. All right, I personally expect at least a couple $1 trillion from gold to flow on in, as so many of these huge investors are already pushing others to hop on in, come on in, get your money. All right, go invest, make some huge returns, and they're coming. It's just a matter of time. But $1 trillion, even $2 trillion is just a start. What are the world's best Bitcoin investors saying behind closed doors? This was an interesting one, yet not so important because, well, whenever I consider my own opinion, right, it's like, okay, I'm bullish. Then I consider some of these big, quote-unquote, investors, and, well, they're bullish. This one talks mostly about Raoul Pal and a couple kind of at least mentioned hedge fund managers. It's not really like they just have a list of 10 people and what they've said. It's just generally that a lot of them are very, very bullish and some of them are very, very bearish, which is quite obvious. But the world's best Bitcoin investors are the ones that are very, very bullish, of course, right? So what's the point of this one? And what they're basically saying is we'll see a huge adoption. And again, one of the guys that they're talking about here is Raoul, it's Raoul Pal, which I actually do not have open just now. But we saw, I think yesterday or so, that he thinks Bitcoin is going to go to a couple 100,000. I'm not really worried about any of these Bitcoin bulls. And if we really consider grayscale and stuff like that as well, it's not really a question in my mind whether or not these guys are accumulating. The bigger question we should be having is when are they going to be switching over to XRP? even though I'm not an XRP only type of guy, I mean, I love every other crypto out there, I do sometimes consider that XRP is the best among a lot of them, specifically because of what Ripple is pushing for them. And then another couple of people were asking me what I think about CBDCs and how I think about China's digital currency and stuff like that. I've made up my opinion quite drastically, which is I do not like it. I do not think it's a good thing because I think people will get the completely wrong idea about a CBDC, since it's not like this is really a cryptocurrency. It's just like a digital coin made by China, but I think it's like a control type of situation, right? I don't really see any good in this coin being built. I don't really see the purpose in a positive sense. And some may say, oh, but yeah, they're helping people out to get adjusted or, eased into digital currencies, and they'll invest more in crypto. China doesn't work that way, all right? If the CBDC is becoming a great success and they're afraid of other cryptocurrencies being adopted instead of theirs, they're going to ban everything. So you just prepare your little buttocks right there if you're from China, if you're already watching this with your VPN, because it might get scary out there, all right, if this currency really becomes a success. Another part of it is, of course, that they're earlier than the US. The US doesn't like that, but also the US is losing a little bit of its technological edge over other countries, with 5G being later, and now this also being later. It's not good, all right? I don't like it. Libertarian Ron Paul legalize Bitcoin and abolish the IRS. This type of stuff I don't want to talk about in this video. I'll talk about it a little bit later today. That was it for today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe, and let me know in the comment section down below what crypto is your favorite one, if you've commented or if you've watched this far, and I'll see you guys again in another crypto video.